Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something straight. Your life is not waiting on permission. Your destiny is not waiting on approval. And your breakthrough is not waiting on the economy. The transformation you're looking for is already inside of you, but it is trapped. Trapped by the things you've allowed to control you, instead of the things you were designed to control. Your thoughts are the invisible engine of your entire life. They are the unseen blueprint that shapes everything you experience, whether you realize it or not. If your thoughts are limited, your life will be limited. If your thoughts are empowered, your life will expand. Every action, every decision, every word you speak begins first as a thought. Before a building is constructed, there is an architectural plan. Before a destiny is lived out, there is a mental blueprint. That blueprint is the quality of your thinking. Most people don't realize that they are not thinking their own thoughts. They are thinking recycled thoughts from their environment, from the news, from their upbringing, from the negativity around them. If you allow the world to think for you, you will always live below what you are capable of. Transformation begins when you decide to take authority over what you allow into your mind. Just like you wouldn't eat rotten food, you should not allow rotten thoughts to take root in your head. Every single thought is a seed, and seeds multiply after their own kind. If you constantly think about lack, you will experience more lack. If you constantly think about possibilities, doors will begin to open that you didn't even know existed. Your brain is designed to filter the world based on your dominant thoughts. If you believe you are capable, your brain will search for evidence to confirm it. If you believe you are unworthy, your brain will also search for evidence to confirm that. What you see in life is less about reality and more about the lens of your thinking. People often say they want to change their circumstances, but the truth is you cannot change your circumstances until you change your thoughts. The outer world is a reflection of the inner world. You may try to fix things externally, but until you fix the way you think, those external changes will only be temporary. Long-term change requires a mental reset, a deliberate practice of shaping your mind into alignment with the life you want to create. The challenge is that negative thinking feels natural because it is familiar. Most people are addicted to negative thoughts the way some are addicted to unhealthy foods. They know it's not good for them, but they keep feeding on it because it's what they're used to. If you want transformation, you have to develop the courage to starve your negative thoughts and feed your empowering ones. That means becoming intentional about what you listen to, what you watch, and who you spend your time with, because all of these influences shape your thinking. When you begin to control your thoughts, you also begin to control your emotions. Thoughts and feelings are connected. A thought of gratitude produces joy. A thought of fear produces anxiety. A thought of confidence produces courage. If you want to feel different, don't start with your emotions. Start with your thoughts. Every emotional state is tied to a mental state. And if you shift your thinking, your emotions will follow. One of the most powerful things you can do is practice speaking to yourself on purpose. Too many people let their thoughts run wild without ever challenging them. If a thought says, "You're not enough," you don't have to accept that. You can say, "I am more than enough." If a thought says, "This will never work," you can replace it with, "I will find a way." Your brain listens to what you repeatedly tell it. And the more you practice this, the stronger your mindset becomes. The battlefield of life is not out there. It is in your mind. Every victory you desire starts with a victory in your thinking. When you wake up in the morning, you have a choice Let your thoughts drift into negativity or discipline them into power. It's like steering a car. If you let go of the wheel, you will drift. If you want to reach a destination, you must guide the vehicle. Your thoughts are that vehicle, and you must drive them with intention. Thoughts also create energy. Have you ever noticed how being around someone positive lifts you up and being around someone negative drains you? That is because thoughts carry energy that is contagious. If your thoughts are strong, creative, and focused, you radiate that energy to the world around you. People are drawn to you, opportunities are drawn to you, and results are drawn to you. But if your thoughts are weak, fearful, and scattered, that energy pushes away the very things you want. The quality of your life will never rise above the quality of your thinking. If you want to change your world, you must first change your inner world. That is why controlling your thoughts is the foundation of all transformation. Your words are far more powerful than most people realize. They are not just sounds carried into the air. They are forces that shape reality. Every time you open your mouth, you are either constructing a future or tearing it down. Words have the ability to build faith, to create momentum, to establish identity, and to set direction. When you speak, you are not just describing your world, you are designing it. The language you use about yourself, about others, and about your circumstances becomes the script that your life begins to follow. Most people underestimate the creative power of their words because they think words are harmless. But words are never neutral. They either carry life or they carry death. Think about how a single sentence from someone can either motivate you for years or wound you for decades. That's because words bypass the surface and go straight into the heart. When you speak over yourself, those words do not vanish. They lodge themselves in your subconscious and begin to program how you see yourself and how you act in the world. The reality is that your words reveal the condition of your inner world. If you constantly say things like, I can't do this, I never get opportunities, or I'm always broke, those phrases don't just describe your circumstances, they reinforce and prolong them. They lock you inside the very prison you want to escape. On the other hand, when you speak words of possibility, like I will find a way, I am capable, my future is bright, you create a mindset of expectancy. That expectancy fuels your actions, and your actions create different results. Your words are also instructions to your brain. The mind listens to what the mouth says. If you repeatedly tell yourself, I'm tired, I'm stressed, I'm not good enough, your body and your emotions follow those instructions. If you say, I am energized, I am focused, I am resourceful, your brain begins searching for evidence to validate those claims. The brain is like a servant responding to the commands of your words. Whatever you repeatedly declare becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. This is why self-talk is not something to ignore. Everyone talks to themselves internally, but not everyone realizes they can direct that conversation. Most people let negative chatter dominate their inner dialogue, which eventually spills out through their mouths. The key to transformation is becoming intentional with the way you speak to yourself. Even if you don't yet feel confident, speaking confidence will eventually align your emotions and actions with what you declare. Words create alignment between who you are now and who you are becoming. It's also important to recognize how your words affect other people. A careless comment can discourage someone who is already struggling, while a timely word of encouragement can unlock potential they didn't even know they had. The people in your life, your family, your friends, your colleagues, are constantly being shaped by what you say to them. Words are like water and sunlight to the human spirit. They can cause someone to grow, or they can cause someone to wither. What you release into the atmosphere doesn't disappear. It plants itself into the hearts of others. Your words don't just influence the present, they echo into the future. When you consistently speak limitation, you set an atmosphere of scarcity that follows you wherever you go. When you consistently speak vision, you create an atmosphere of expansion that pulls you forward into opportunities. The words you say today are seeds for the harvest you will see tomorrow. That's why it's impossible to separate your future from your speech. If you want to know what your life will look like a year from now, pay attention to what you are saying consistently today. Even casual words carry weight. People often excuse negative phrases by saying, "I didn't mean it," but the subconscious mind doesn't recognize sarcasm, jokes, or casual exaggeration. If you repeatedly speak failure, even in jest, your subconscious records it as truth and influences your behavior accordingly. This is why you must become disciplined with your language. Instead of saying, "I'm dying of laughter," try, "That was hilarious." Instead of saying, "I'm sick of this," say, "I'm ready for change." Small adjustments in the words you use daily create significant shifts in the results you experience. Your words also determine how people perceive you and whether or not they trust you. When you speak consistently with clarity, strength, and integrity, you develop influence. People follow voices that carry conviction. But if your words are filled with doubt, contradiction, or negativity, people instinctively withdraw. Your voice is not just sound, it is credibility. The way you speak determines the level of authority others will assign to you. When you choose to master your words, you elevate your entire life. You communicate with clarity, you build relationships with intention, you program your mind for success, and you align your actions with your declarations. Every great transformation begins with speech, and every limitation can be traced back to words that were spoken and never corrected. That is why being intentional with your words is one of the most powerful choices you can ever make. Emotions are some of the most powerful forces in the human experience. They can lift you the heights of joy, drive you into determination, or pull you into despair if you let them go unchecked. The truth is, emotions are a gift, but they were never meant to be your master. They are signals, not commands. They reveal what you are thinking, what you are focusing on, and what you are believing, but they do not have the right to dictate your destiny unless you give them permission. Most people live at the mercy of their emotions. If they feel motivated, they work. If they feel discouraged, they quit. If they feel happy, they treat others well. If they feel upset, they lash out. That kind of living keeps you trapped in a cycle of inconsistency because your emotions change constantly. A disciplined life is one where you can acknowledge what you feel without letting it govern your decisions. Mastery is not about eliminating emotions. It's about learning to channel them. The reality is that emotions are directly tied to thoughts. Every feeling begins with an idea. Anxiety doesn't just appear. It comes from a thought of fear or uncertainty. Joy doesn't just happen. It is birthed from gratitude or hope. Anger comes from a sense of injustice. Peace comes from a sense of trust. If you want to change how you feel, you must first change how you think. When you understand this connection, you stop trying to fight your emotions at the surface and start addressing the root cause in your mind. One of the greatest skills you can develop is emotional awareness. That means pausing long enough to ask yourself, what am I feeling right now and why? Instead of reacting impulsively, you gain the ability to observe your emotional state like an outsider. This awareness creates space between the stimulus and your response, which gives you the power to choose how you will act instead of being controlled by automatic reactions. That space is where your growth happens. Uncontrolled emotions not only affect you, but also the people around you. A single outburst of anger can damage a relationship that took years to build. A careless expression of bitterness can discourage those who look up to you. On the other hand, controlled emotions can inspire, uplift, and bring stability to others. When you remain calm under pressure, people gain confidence in you. When you express compassion instead of irritation, people feel valued. The way you manage your emotions sets the tone for the environments you enter. It's important to understand that emotions carry energy, and that energy attracts experiences into your life. If you constantly live in fear, you will notice more things to be afraid of. If you constantly live in gratitude, you will notice more things to appreciate. The emotional state you dwell in becomes the atmosphere of your life. By mastering your emotions, you are not only influencing your inner world, but also shaping the opportunities and outcomes that come into your external world. Another key is to remember that emotions are temporary. Feelings pass, but the decisions you make in those feelings often have permanent consequences. That's why it's dangerous to make big choices when you're angry, impulsive, or overwhelmed. What feels urgent in a moment may not be important at all when the emotion fades. The wise person learns to pause, to breathe, and to allow the emotion to settle before taking action. Self-control in emotional moments prevents regret later on. The discipline of controlling emotions also requires building habits that stabilize your inner world. Practices like meditation, prayer, journaling, or even exercise are powerful tools to regulate emotional energy. These activities help you reset your state when negative emotions rise. They train your body and mind to return to balance more quickly instead of spiraling downward. Just like physical muscles are strengthened through consistent training, emotional control is strengthened through consistent practice. It is also important to separate identity from emotion. Too often people say, I am depressed, or I am anxious, as if the emotion is who they are. But an emotion is something you experience, not something you are. When you detach your identity from your emotional state, you stop labeling yourself with temporary feelings and start reclaiming authority over them. You might feel discouraged, but you are not discouragement. You might feel fearful, but you are not fear. You are bigger than what you feel. Ultimately, emotions are tools, and tools are meant to be used with wisdom. Anger can fuel justice when controlled. Fear can sharpen awareness when managed. Joy can energize creativity when embraced. Sadness can deepen empathy when acknowledged. Every emotion has value when you control it, but every emotion becomes destructive when it controls you. The difference between a life of chaos and a life of stability is not the absence of emotions, but the mastery of them. The people you surround yourself with are one of the most significant influences on the direction of your life. Whether you recognize it or not, the conversations you hear, the energy you absorb, and the examples you witness all shape your mindset and behavior. No one rises above the level of their environment for long. If you want to elevate your life, you must elevate your associations. Your circle is either propelling you toward your purpose or pulling you deeper into mediocrity. It has been said that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This isn't just a catchy phrase. It's a reality. If you spend time with complainers, you will find yourself complaining. If you spend time with visionaries, your vision expands. Human beings adapt to the environments they inhabit. The longer you stay connected to people who settle for less, the easier it becomes for you to settle too. The longer you stay around people who chase growth, the harder it becomes for you to stay stagnant. Associations influence not only what you do, but also what you believe is possible. If you are constantly around people who think small, even your biggest dreams will start to shrink. On the other hand, when you walk with those who think big, suddenly what once seemed impossible becomes normal conversation. The size of your circle often determines the size of your vision. If you want to dream bigger, start surrounding yourself with people who refuse to think small. It is important to understand that not all relationships are meant to last forever. Some people are only meant to be in your life for a season, to teach you something, or to give you an experience that helps you grow. The mistake many people make is holding on to relationships that have already expired. When you cling to old associations that no longer align with your future, you block yourself from stepping into new ones that will. Growth requires the courage to release certain connections so you can embrace new ones. There is a difference between people who tolerate you and people who celebrate you. Tolerators keep you in their circle because of convenience, history, or obligation, but they don't inspire you or believe in your potential. Celebrators, on the other hand, push you higher, affirm your dreams, and challenge you to grow. Life is too short to spend most of your time with people who only tolerate your presence. If you want transformation, you need to seek out those who see greatness in you and expect you to walk in it. The associations you keep will also affect your standards. If you are in a circle where laziness is acceptable, you will find yourself lowering your effort. If you are in a circle where excellence is normal, you will naturally raise your standards to match. People rarely outperform the expectations of their peer group. This is why athletes train with other athletes. Leaders connect with other leaders, and entrepreneurs surround themselves with entrepreneurs. The group you belong to sets the standard for what you consider normal. It is not only about removing negative associations, it is also about intentionally building positive ones. That means seeking mentors who can guide you, peers who can challenge you, and mentees who can learn from you. Each type of association brings value. Mentors pull you forward with wisdom. Peers sharpen you through accountability. Mentees remind you of your responsibility to grow so you can help others. A balanced circle will keep you learning, stretching, and contributing. Sometimes protecting your associations also means setting boundaries. You may not always be able to completely cut ties with certain people, but you can control the amount of access they have to your mind and your energy. Not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life. Some people should be loved from a distance, while others should be welcomed closer. Boundaries are not about rejection. They are about preservation of purpose. Your future will often be revealed by the company you keep. If you want to know where you are heading, look at the people you spend the most time with and the conversations you engage in daily. Are they focused on growth, vision, and impact? Or are they consumed with gossip, complaints, and limitations? The environment you create through your associations is either an incubator for your dreams or a graveyard for them. Choosing your associations wisely is not an act of arrogance. It is an act of stewardship. You have a responsibility to guard your destiny, and that means guarding who has access to your mind and spirit. The voices you allow into your life become the echoes in your head, and those echoes influence the steps you take. Transformation is not just about what you do alone. It is about who you choose to walk with on the journey. Habits are the hidden architects of your destiny. They are the small, often unnoticed actions you repeat day after day that quietly determine the quality of your life. Success and failure are not the result of one big decision. They are the accumulation of countless small decisions practiced consistently over time. A single choice may not seem significant in the moment, but when that choice is repeated daily, it becomes a habit, and that habit shapes who you are becoming. Most people underestimate the power of habits because they look for instant results. They go to the gym once, and when nothing changes overnight, they quit. They save money for a week, and when the account still looks small, they give up. But transformation is never about intensity. It is about consistency. Habits are powerful because of compounding. The small things you do repeatedly create exponential results that eventually become visible. The problem is that both good habits and bad habits compound, which means you are either compounding progress or compounding destruction. Your habits are not just actions, they are evidence of your identity. Every habit reflects what you believe about yourself. If you habitually procrastinate, it shows that you see yourself as someone who doesn't need to value time. If you habitually take care of your health, it shows that you see yourself as someone worth investing in. When you want to change your life, don't just try to change the behavior, start by changing the identity you associate with that habit. When your identity shifts, your habits will naturally follow. The most dangerous habits are not the ones that are obviously destructive, but the ones that seem harmless in the short term. Scrolling endlessly on your phone may not seem like a big deal, but over years it robs you of hours that could have been invested in building your dreams. Eating poorly once may feel insignificant, but when repeated daily, it becomes a silent enemy to your health. On the flip side, reading for 10 minutes a day may not look impressive, but over time it builds knowledge and perspective that separate you from the crowd. Small hinges swing big doors, and small habits create big destinies. Habits also determine your discipline. Willpower is useful, but willpower is temporary. Habits are automatic. When something becomes a habit, you no longer have to fight yourself to do it. It becomes natural. That is why successful people seem to have extraordinary discipline, but the truth is, they have simply built habits that align with their goals. Once a habit is installed, it requires less energy to maintain, freeing up your willpower to focus on higher level decisions. To change a habit, you must first become conscious of it. Many people live on autopilot, repeating patterns without realizing the long-term consequences. They wonder why their life doesn't change, but they never stop to examine the routines that are keeping them stuck. Awareness is the first step. Once you recognize a destructive habit, you must interrupt it and replace it with one that supports your future. Habits cannot simply be removed, they must be replaced. The people you associate with also affect your habits. If everyone in your circle has a habit of complaining, you will likely adopt it. If everyone in your circle has a habit of working hard, you will be influenced to match that energy. Habits are contagious, and the culture of your environment becomes your personal routine. That's why changing your associations often makes it easier to change your habits. You begin to normalize a higher standard of behavior. Rituals are another dimension of habits. Rituals are intentional routines that prepare your mind and body for performance. Athletes have rituals before games, leaders have rituals before meetings, and successful individuals have rituals that set the tone for their mornings. These rituals are not random. They are habits designed to anchor them in peak states of focus and energy. Building daily rituals creates momentum, and momentum eliminates resistance. Your habits also determine your ability to handle challenges. When pressure comes, You don't rise to the occasion. You fall to the level of your training. If your daily habits prepare you to think clearly, act decisively, and stay disciplined, then when challenges arise, you will respond with strength. If your habits are sloppy and inconsistent, then under pressure you will crumble. Crisis always exposes the quality of the habits you have been practicing in secret. The truth is that your habits are either your prison or your passport. They are either holding you captive in cycles you want to break or propelling you into levels you never thought you could reach. Every habit you form is a vote for the kind of person you are becoming. Each day, with every repeated action, you are casting votes for your future. Over time, those votes accumulate, and the identity you built through your habits becomes permanent reality. Time is the most valuable resource you will ever possess because it is the one thing you cannot earn back once it is gone. Money lost can be regained. Opportunities missed can sometimes return. But every second that slips away is gone forever. How you manage your time is how you manage your life, because your days are made of hours, your hours are made of minutes, and your minutes are the currency of your destiny. If you waste time, you waste life. If you steward time, you build life. Many people live as though time is unlimited, but the truth is, every day you are trading pieces of your existence for what you choose to give attention to. When you scroll endlessly, when you procrastinate, when you say yes to distractions, you are spending a currency that cannot be replenished. The greatest tragedy is not that people don't have enough time, but that they waste the time they do have on things that do not move them closer to their purpose. Time has a way of revealing priorities. Whatever you consistently give time to becomes what you truly value. You can say you value health, but if you never invest time in exercise or nutrition, your calendar proves otherwise. You can say you value relationships, but if you never give time to the people you love, your actions contradict your words. Time does not lie. Your schedule is the mirror that reflects your true commitments. The most successful people are not necessarily the smartest or the most talented. They are the ones who learned how to manage their time with intention. They understand that every day is an opportunity to invest in the future. They guard their mornings, they structure their routines, and they prioritize the things that bring long-term results over short-term pleasure. By managing time wisely, they create momentum that compounds over months and years. Distractions are the greatest thief of time. They disguise themselves as urgent, but rarely contribute to what truly matters. Social media notifications, constant emails, endless entertainment. All of these can consume hours of your day without giving you anything in return. Learning to say no to distractions is not about deprivation, it is about protection. Protecting your time is protecting your destiny. Every yes to a distraction is a no to your vision. Another key aspect of controlling your time is understanding the difference between being busy and being productive. Many people confuse activity with accomplishment. They fill their days with tasks, but those tasks are often meaningless in the grand scheme of their goals. Productivity is not